Members of the media, to those of you viewing online, good morning and welcome to today's media conference hosted by the Trinidad and Tobago Scrap Iron Dealers Association. The purpose of today's meeting is to discuss some issues that would have stemmed from the closure of the industry. I have with me this morning our President, Mr. Alan Ferguson, our Vice President, Mr. Ttsida, and our Consultant, Mr. Kenny Plaza. And they will be addressing you on different issues as it relates to some of the problems that they would have encountered from the closure. First, we will have Mr. Plaza addressing you, followed by Mr. Ttsida, and finally our President, Mr. Ferguson.
Yes, good morning all, and good morning to the viewing public, as well as everybody locked on to all the social media sites that is looking at us today. Now, just as you see us here, we literally are in the sun. Put out in the sun to dry by our government with these measures that they institute, with the new laws that they have. Now, there have been many issues plaguing the operations of this industry with regards to the new laws. Now, to be clear, the industry is operating on an extensional license from the old laws, because there is no new license been put in place by the government, yet still they want to operate under the new laws. Okay, cool. But there are many issues. Now, with the closure and the partial reopening of the industry, there are issues that cause at least 75% of the yards that was operating to close down. Be it whether financial for the length of time the closure was, but because of the things that the government has asked for, yes, because of the things that the government has asked for, it makes operating the business very difficult. Like, for instance, I will go through what they put on paper here for now, and I'll explain other things to you. They're asking that scrap metal dealers who normally would purchase materials from the collectors and companies to be able to keep proper records. No problem, that was always the law. Thing with it, we don't understand who draft these things. Because if you ask for somebody's ID, on your ID card clearly have some information on it. But yet still, they have you fill out a form to ask you, what is the person's gender? What's the eye color? Where's the race? We have a fair government here? Or this is a prejudicial government who put in these laws in place? Because you can't be having something on your ID card, they already have information there, and you want to know what somebody's eye color and their gender is, or the race is, so then you're being biased. Right? And these are the kind of things. They're asking for distinguishing marks to be filled out by the scrap dealer. So you're supposed to go and undress a person and see what marks they have on their body? So when you're wearing full COVID protocol where your face band up or you have on a mask, if we have back to that, you have to know what distinguishing marks these people have. Does these people draft these laws make sense? And it's a clear waste of time to be filling out this repetitive information that is already on somebody's ID card. Right? So these are some of the issues being faced with just the scrap dealers. And this is the form here. Right? It comes in two parts. Some of the questions, as I say, are relevant to what the business operates under. But then again, some of it is totally ambiguous and of no sense to this industry. Another question arises with the fact that you have to fill out these forms in advance, and they must be processed by a trade licensing unit to be able to export. To date, There's no members in our trade licensing unit that the government has. So who sees about this when they put things in place that you must fill out forms to get approval by a unit that doesn't exist? Now, this makes the industry very hard. Apart from that, you have to submit these forms and wait weeks, months maybe, to get approval to fill a container. When this industry does about 500 containers a month from various yards in different locations of this country, you can understand what it takes now, the logistics, to deal with this operation when they want an inspector on site on the loading of all containers and they want you to tell you exactly when to load the container. Because if you don't specify when, they wouldn't allow people to come to visit your place to load a container. So now, this makes the operations of the business very difficult. Now, somebody with a little common sense will tell you, when they make it this difficult, it's really only for 1 or 2 people to operate in this business, because you can't have, as before, 100 and something dealers and have inspectors going to all these yards and have all this documentation being submitted for anybody to be able to approve this, to be able to operate your business. This is literally impossible. So why is it that the government, who have not, as we always say, have not sat down with the proper stakeholders and understand clearly the operations of the business, but gets involved and make laws that are backward thinking? Does this make any sense to the people of this country and the industry? Now, apart from these laws that they institute, I am in the capacity of as a consultant. I was a previous scrap iron dealer. While there, I was part of the Scrap Dealers Association's executive as well. And we had proposed getting Trinidad and Tobago to first world status in recycling. Now, clearly, putting these laws in place and these kind of backward thinking policies makes it impossible for Trinidad to go forward in recycling to our first world status. Because in the bigger countries of the world that are first world status, they allow the average person on the street to go around and pick up scrap and sell it, because the government or the country can't afford to provide all the jobs needed, so people have means to have an income as small as it is. And this now is being stamped out, because there's a clause in the law clearly stating that nobody's supposed to collect or store or dismantle any type of scrap material in their premises. So you know where that will take us as a country. You no longer could collect scrap. You could no longer break down a building in your yard, a shed, and keep that material there, because the penalty now is $250,000 and 2 years in jail for a misdemeanor offense that you have at your own place. So what does that say now? Could people afford this government continue doing what they're doing and making the lives of everybody difficult in this country? The scrap dealers, the people who collecting, the people who cleaning up the yard, every single body, and even the companies who disposing of the materials? Well, I don't know. It is left to be seen and heard from our rest of our panel, hear what they have to say, and I'll get back to you with some other comments.
Present and those who are listening online. Let me first say that my problem, being one of the few yards to reopen and to start purchasing material, the problem I am having is not with the closing of the industry, it's with the reopening of the industry. And I'll tell you why. We were instructed to do certain paperwork. We had to put measures in place to facilitate that paperwork, to facilitate the new procurement procedures. We had to do additional staff. With the waiting period for selling we also had to put in place significant capital for investment, because now it's big investment, because you have to buy and wait. What we thought would be a month is turning out to be months, and this is wrong. You see, they've asked us to do certain things, and we have put infrastructure in place at a very high cost, and they have not put infrastructure in place. The key to this whole industry running smoothly, and at this point I personally had brought this up to the Minister of Trade, are the inspectors. Now, without the inspectors, we are running like, let me see how to explain it. Like, you have a truck, you have a big truck with a big Nissan engine on the front, and you have twin axles at the back, right? And that truck with the big engine and the big axles and stuff can't move because there's no drive shaft. The truck have no drive shaft. The inspectors was supposed to be the drive shaft that connect the axles to the engine being the ministry and the axles being us. Without those inspectors, everything is going to go haywire, and I'll explain to you why. The inspectors were supposed to come into the yards while we were purchasing. Look at what we were purchasing, sign off on the material being purchased, so that when we apply for our export license, things would have already been put in place. Now, without those inspectors, we are dependent on the police officers who are already swamped and overworked to fill in for the inspectors, not just to load containers, but to come to the yards and check on the materials that are being bought. Without the inspectors, when you put in an application, right, you have to wait until you put in that application. Then when they get time, with the few clerks that are there to look at these things, they would see, well, you know, you're supposed to do this, or you're supposed to do that, or we have to send it back to you. Had there been inspectors, this whole problem would be alleviated. We would not have this problem. We would not have this problem. Without the inspectors, the industry moving forward is almost impossible. Because in only way for this to work, they got to change the system that they have instituted. With the system being the same as it is now, again, it is impossible without the inspectors. I'm as yet to see inspectors being employed or being sent out, and without these inspectors, we're in a lot of trouble. And it's worse for us because now, like I said before, we had to invest more money, more capital, more man time, more labor, and to do something that we just can't sell. We can't sell. We can't sell. It's just sitting there, you know. So I am calling on the government. Listen, we have been trying to work with you. We have been doing everything you asked for and more. All I'm asking is for you to do the same. Work with us, do your part, get your infrastructure in place. Do not let us waste time, energy, and most of all, investments. That is killing us. In an industry that has been cut down by more than 75%, we can't afford this. We cannot afford this. No way can we afford this. You know? So again, I'm asking you to please, and let me tell you something, right? Every time we have a press conference about what's bothering us, the next day there's something, either stale news or something comes up on the news to make us look bad. Well, we're not gonna do that. All I'm going to have to say to the citizens of this country is this: look at your lives 10 years ago and see if the life you have now is what you had 10 years ago. It has been a constant deterioration of our lifestyle. So much so that we are scared to come out of our own houses and sit on our porch. But I'm not a politician. All I want is justice. I don't want I don't want to see, I don't want no sympathy. I don't care for sympathy. All I'm doing, I'm looking for justice. Mr. Ferguson and the rest of the association, all we're doing, we're looking for justice. That's all we want, is justice. If you want to close down the industry, let us know while you're closing down the industry. Don't have us floating. Don't have us in limbo. Be man enough to say, well, okay, you guys are no longer going to be in existence. Fine, and we move on. Right? We will fight. Make no mistake about that. We will fight. But at least then we would know where we are. We don't know where we are, and that is unfair and unjust. So I want to thank you for the opportunity this morning to speak here, and hope that something is done. I'll turn you over now to our president, Mr. Ferguson.
Our Vice President and Mr. Kenny Plaza, the advisor to us. I want to thank also Nicole, and I want to thank my staff. And first, I want to thank the media for being here, and the people who is listening on our Facebook page. I want to thank them. Now this morning, I'm not in a mood to be smooth. I'm going to be a little rough. And I will explain to Trinidad and Tobago why I'm going to be rough. Because our industry opened back about 6 weeks ago. And whilst it was open, we all agreed to give it a chance to see how it's going. And whilst we waiting to see how it's going, we was angry. But we wasn't saying nothing because we had to work with the government. And we want to work with the government to make sure that this industry goes the way it's supposed to go. But one of the things that I always say in my news conference, sometimes you want to fix something, and whilst you're fixing it, is that you're taking it or you're mashing it up. And I want to say this to Trinidad and Tobago. If the laws that you bring to run this industry here now, it's come from Australia or anywhere else in the world, one of the big countries, they would have the necessary things in place to make sure that when we submit the documents and people in place to make sure it runs smooth. Because all over the world, everybody knows that this industry is not an industry one today, one tomorrow, one today. It's about volume. It's about containers moving up and down because it's contract. And you cannot have an industry that moving one today, one tomorrow. And when you speak, you want to be vexed. When we talk, you want to be vexed. When we ask a meeting, you want to refuse it. You don't want to say nothing. You just want to keep us on lumber. Going in a week now or more, we ask a meeting and not a response from you. And then we have to remain silent. And that I will not do. I will not stay silent. I will not stay silent as long as I am the president. I will operate in an intelligent way. And I'm going to say today to Trinidad and Tobago, it was brought to my attention. There's two things they want to do. Is either to take this industry from us, or they want to get us out of the business. And I am saying to y'all, it will be a fight. And I know you have the government, and you have all the resources to keep going. But one of the things that I could tell you is when people start to understand what is right and what is wrong, and it's not about we don't want change. It's not about we don't want change in our industry. We want change. But we need change that we could able to operate in a professional way, not in a way that you don't care how it runs. And because you is the people in charge, you don't care how you speak to us. You don't care to respond to us. You don't care about us. And we don't want that. We want this industry to run the way it's supposed to run. And I am saying, we understand that it has some people that want to come in this industry and cause a lot of problems. But we understand that we is putting all the necessary things in place to make sure that we keep that from the past and make sure that long as y'all work with us, it will have it. But we cannot operate with ourselves when we ask you for meetings. You're not responding to us. So I have no way now to say. I have nothing else to say more than to say is that there are two things. You want to take this industry from us or you want to mash it up. Because it have no other way. Because we are saying that we write you for a meeting to work with you, to able to make sure that we identify the issues in the industry now. And the reason why we as the people who work in the industry, we understand the problems that we face in each and every day. It's problems with the van men, it's problems with the scrapyards. The reason why we're here today is to let you know that it's everybody frustrated. The van men, the collectors is frustrated, the scrapyard, because of the time. We have to wait. People is applying to get export license and they cannot get export license. I apply so long to get my export license to move out the material that I have here because I can't continue buying material and a lot of people cannot do it. My Russ, the vice president, he have to hold up in this yard. He hold up. He stop buying. Because why? Because he had to see what the situation is in buying. And because of all of that, we face real difficulty in this industry. We face closure in this industry. Because if the government continue treating us as how they're treating us, we will have to close up. We will have to close up shop. And you will frustrate us to close it up or to remain with the big ones. And I am saying is that we need to have a meeting with y'all. We need to sit down with y'all. We need to sit down with y'all to work it out and show y'all the way that we could go forward. Because the only way to go forward is to have a good understanding about the industry. You know. This industry cannot operate how it's operating now. Unless you have a meeting with us and we can identify the issues that we have in. And without that, what we going to do? We can't continue waiting to get export license. We can't continue waiting. And information coming to me is that you all don't have nobody to operate. You are seeing about everything and your staff is a limited amount of staff you have. And you want to see about all export. We need to change up this. We operating in Trinidad and Tobago like we don't know what we're doing. Every single thing we do, we having problem with it. Every single thing now is an issue and problem. We can't solve problem. We cannot deal with people because if somebody talk about something, you want to hate them for that. This organization, the Scrap Iron organization, is not a political party, you know. We fighting for our members. We fighting for 25,000 people and more. We understand that there are a lot of people who depend on this industry each and every day, and not normal people, poor people, people who cannot even sometimes feed the family operating in this industry. Because why? And you have us, the government, have the collectors frustrated because we can't give them a bigger price. We cannot give them no bigger price because you know why? We don't know when we will be loading. We don't know when things will be taking place. And you operating in a way that, you know, because you big and bad and you have all the resources. But let me tell you something. What goes up must come down. What goes up must come down. Okay? And what we're saying is that we need to have an understanding about the people in this industry. We need to work. And I am saying, our Vice President, our Kenny Plaza, and myself, we are saying is that we will be ready to work with y'all. These is people with knowledge in the industry. I make a ply. I am saying here today again, I am willing to come and help to work with y'all. I'm ready to give up my position to come and work for this industry. And the Vice President, he ready to come and work for this industry too. Also Kenny. And we have a lot of other people who willing and ready to come and help all you. Because information coming to us. All I don't know, nobody who don't know nothing. And all I believe that lawyers know every single thing about something. They always know everything. We must change. If we want to make this country better, if we want to able for this industry, which employ 25 and more thousand people working, well, now we don't know how it's going, because I will tell you something. From 125 years, if we had 25 years, we have plenty. If we have 25 years now, we have plenty. You ain't saying that we hurting and we getting damaged. You ain't see what's going on? And we must remain silent. I must say silence. I mustn't come here and talk about the government. The government ain't know what they're doing. And they don't want to listen to us, and they don't want to work with us, because look how long we have to a meeting. And it's because why? Because Indian and African, or because how we look and it's how we speak. We don't want we to speak language that we are accustomed speaking. We dealing with poor people each and every day. And we are saying that we ready to work with you all to make this industry work. We are saying that we want to we quarreling with you all because we had nothing else to say. We are saying that we're hurting. People invest a lot of money. People is borrowing money. People can't even open back because of what you did to us. And we say, listen to me, we're ready to work to make sure that people who even close to come back and open back up because of the laws that you think and because you don't understand. If you have nobody, you don't understand what you're doing. And I'm saying to this government today, and I'm calling on the 25,000 people and all the people who support us. I know this call I'm going to make today. I know all ain't gonna like it. But I am calling on the 25,000 people who work in this industry and who understand and who suffering the pain now, today. And I am calling on each and every one in society who understand what's taking place. I am saying to the government, meet with us. And if you don't meet with us, and this is not no threat, and I don't want to feel that it's a threat, but we have to stand up for our rights. And this is my rights in Trinidad and Tobago as a citizen here, to stand up for my rights and my members, because I am the president. I am saying if you do not try to straighten out this industry, we will call out all our people. And we will call on other people in society to come and make this, to come with and join with us. Because we cannot work with how the system is. We cannot. And all we are asking for is, we're not asking for money. We're not asking for land. We're not asking for nothing. All we're asking, work with us. We don't want money when we come in. All we want you to do is to work with us. And I am saying if you do not work with us to straighten out this industry, Alan Ferguson, the president of the association, I will call out people. Because enough is enough. Enough is enough. I will call out all my members. I will call out all the trade union that I could call out who want to work with us. I will call out all citizens in Trinidad and Tobago, because enough is enough. We can't take it no more. People are suffering. And not because some people, some big people start to do containers. That is not it. The industry is more than that. The industry is a lot of different people involved. A lot of people who poor. A lot of people who suffer and sometimes can't make the means. And I am saying is that we need to make some change in this industry. Yes, we saying yes, it. We don't have a problem. But I am saying we're ready to work with y'all. But if you don't ready to work with us and you're ready to make sure that we lost this industry, we saying we will have to put up a fight. Because if you push my head in a pool of water, or a little child head, he will try to raise up. And what you're doing right now is pushing our head in a pool of water. And you're telling me stay there for hours. I will drown. So I can't do that. So I will have to raise up my head. And by raising up my head, it might cause casualty. I don't have a problem with that. Because I will not be in charge of this industry and allow it to suffer how it's suffering. And then make me have to stay silent. I had to stay silent. I had to remain silent because you feel that you could send people to make me be silent. No, I'm not doing that. So I want you to understand today before I leave and before I shut down, that I want you to understand I'm not about fighting you. Because I don't have the resources to fight you. But what I have the people that we could get to come out and show we angry because of what's taking place, we can fight you because you have the whole state resources in your possession. You have it for whenever, how long. So we are saying we want to work with you and we want to help for this industry. That is all we want to do. And I want to, before the questions or anything comes forward to us, I want to make it very clear to you. All we want to do is to make better for this industry. We understand that it had a problem. We move on from that. You suffer, you put us in pain for the last 6-7 months. We went through it, but we now want to work with you all to bring back the industry how it was. Thank you.
And I was fortunate enough to get it, to be able to sell it, right? But since then, I guess what it is that with all the other dealers who have stock have applied for license to sell their stock, the system has become clogged. It has become clogged so much so that it's almost like it's not moving. And those of us who ventured to invest more money and buy new material, I don't think anybody who bought new material has gotten a license to sell material.
And a lot of people with old material still with it. A lot of people, because I one that I ain't pushed out one container since, because I applied probably about 5. That our members and everything was going good. So I didn't apply first. But what I'm saying is that I not one container gone since we reopened. And I don't apply to get the export license. I just want Nicole, let the media know concerning the right of the minister. Because we need to read this thing to public to know it.
Okay, so this letter was written to the Minister of Trade, Ms. Paula Gopi-Schoon, on the 5th of May 2023, and it is entitled Meeting Request, and it says the Trinidad and Tobago Scrap Iron Dealers Association is requesting a meeting with you and your team to discuss the industry and the challenges that exist. We are available at your earliest convenience. For further information, you can contact, and of course, Mr. Ferguson's number and trinidadscrap@gmail.com.
Now the reason why I read that is to come back to you all to tell you all is that we not about complaining alone. Oh. We not about complaining. We is about working with the government to make sure that the industry run the proper way. Every society, every organization. What I have to do again? What I have to do? I have to bleach myself? What I have to do? My mother and my father make me in this color. And what causing the problem? Because of the color what we is? Because the only way I could think about it now is like you don't like us, or because the color of we is, or because we look like y'all. What could be causing this? People who understand the industry, who went all over the world. People endorse them in certain areas. We now have to face this problem when all we have to do is to sit down and work with one another to get this industry going good. It's not that we are asking for nothing, that we are asking for protection for evil people who doing evil in the industry. Let me say this to Trinidad and Tobago. When this industry had closed down, it had about 93 containers on the port. 93 containers in the port. They went and they searched up the containers. 2 containers, they say they find something, or 3. But all the rest of containers is still in the port. Let me say this now. What you're doing to this industry? This is containers on a port for more than 7-8 months that people spend money to have on the port. And you government, you keeping it there. And not even trying to let the people who own these containers export it. You check them, you search them, and we still have to be waiting. What's that doing to we? What that doing to this industry? All you want to do is what? Destroy this industry? Because you don't check the containers. Let the containers export now. What is waiting for? It's causing the state thousands and thousands of US every single day that these containers remain there. And you know something? What about when the people take them to court? It will cost the state a lot of money. And we know I had to stay silent. I had to stay silent. I mustn't say nothing. I am telling you all, I will talk. Alongside is the president of this association. Well, I will say this. I don't want to talk legal action because we still opening our options to meet with the government and talk with them. You understand? All we want to do is to meet them and talk to them. And I'm going to make this call again. We make it already. Mr. Prime Minister, I am asking you, because I know that you see the way that people want to do things for themselves. We don't want things that you want. We don't want you to give us nothing. We're not asking for no money. We're just asking to meet with you, to work out, to meet with your team, to work out whatever issues we have to get this industry running. That is what we want. Questions? What unit they put in place? They have no unit in place. All it have now operating is the police coming and doing the inspection. And I want to make it very clear. With the little report, we could work with that police thing for a little while until they get the inspectors. We could work with them because it's still better than nothing. And we could work with the police. We thank the police commissioner to have the guys and them coming on. And we had a little hiccup in the earlies, but I think the police now working with us to make sure that the containers are them full. But that was only the first part. And why you want to give a person 2 months license? 2 months license, and then you have to apply back, and you have to apply back, and about 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 2 months you have to apply back. When you get a license, it only lasts because it might only last a month. Because you have to wait about 6 weeks after or some kind of thing when you get it. So what we're saying, let us sit down and work together to able. The main thing is not export. The main thing is the stealing and all the things. And if we could sit down and explain to you what we could do to able to stop all this stuff and make sure that people who fill in containers do the right thing. That's all we want. We're asking for nothing much because the export needs to be going out. And when the export don't go out, our volume and our contract with outside buyers will just now take back contract. Just now you see the foreigners who we sell our material gone. They will get out of here because I am talking to the Chinese, the Indians, and all of them fed up. I am telling you, they're fed up. And we are saying that if they're fed up and they come out of Trinidad, we here will suffer. And that's why I'm telling all you, we will have to close up. We will have to close up because the people who we selling to getting fed up. They're getting fed up because they can't make money and they're in the business to make money. And I'm saying that the reason we're here is because they're telling me they're fed up. And I have to say now that if them go on, we will have to close up. We can't go to nobody else. Where we go to?
Are there any further questions?
So when we make the applications, right? They go to just some people you're afraid to
Explain that procedure.
Actually, I have a application inside, right, for 100 tons, of metal, right? It went in Monday, I believe. My broker sent it in, right? It goes in there, and what I was told, there's a lineup of people waiting weeks ahead of me. So when I am going to be able to sell, or when am I going to be able to load? Now, remember, I am a very small yard. Of all the yards that have survived, I'm probably the smallest, right? My yard could probably take maybe 250 to 300 ton of metal. That is filled. My yard is filled. The metal is just sitting. I still have to pay staff. I still have to pay people that come into work to make sure the place is maintained because I don't want the neighbors and the people around to have things. I still have expenses. I have capital that I invested. right? No, that capital which was supposed to make me a profit very soon is going to cause me, is to run me at a loss if I'm not already there, because having to pay additional expenses, right, to sell something that should have been sold in no more than a month. When you started going into months and weeks, expensive add up. The material now loses its value. My profit now is going to be, which means that the capital that I invested, I will be lucky to get it back. That's how bad it is. You know, and the thing about it is that when you speak to the people in the ministry, right, they don't seem to understand what it is going on. They don't seem to understand, because I call and I talk to them, and I don't blame them, you know, because I understand what it is going on. The people who's in charge of this, who's running this, are people that with clerks and whatever, they just take them forever and say, oh, they handle this. And they have absolutely no idea. No idea. Because, all right, if I send in a request for a license for 100 ton of metals, which means that 100 ton of metal, a small yard was probably bought from about 250 people. And when you want to sit there because you have no inspectors to verify the validity of the material being bought, and you want to sit there and call 250 people with the information I have presented to verify that they sold for me. You know what I'm saying? 250 people you want to call to find out if it's when had there been inspectors, this would have been done in the yard, because the inspectors will come in. That is the reason why when they asked us to reopen, the part of we being able to reopen on the old license was that we signed a consent form. The reason for the consent form was that people, the police, the inspectors, whoever there would come and look at our material, look at our books, look at our paperwork. This is a transition period. There's going to be mistakes. A lot of mistakes that we're going to make mistakes. You know, on both sides. And we understand that. We understand that, and we are willing to compromise. But you're actually killing me. It's like you're standing there with your foot on my throat. You know, and very soon I will be unable to breathe. So I'm left with one of two options. Is either I fight or I pack up. And like I said before, let us know. If your intention is to kill us, let us know, so we would know how to fight. You know, we would know how to fight. We would know what kind of battle we have to fight. But just let us know. If you are unable to cope with the laws that you make and to put infrastructure in place so that to handle these laws, you need to let us know. Because from what we are seeing, we are all lost. We are lost. Completely lost. And suffering. We are suffering. When people have to buy books and things and have the collectors who for the last almost 10 months have been collecting their material, they have expense because they have customers they service. And when their customers call them and they go and they pick up the material and they have to store it in their house, in their properties and whatever, that's expense. And now you say to us you're open, but you didn't really open. If you had really, really opened in this industry, it would have already been flowing. It would have already been flowing. There's nothing flowing. Everything is stagnant. And those of us in the industry, we are moving backward and downward. We are going backward and downward because our capital and everything else is going down, and nobody seems to care. Why is that? Everything you ask, we do. We even went out of our way to work with the collectors to ensure that they're doing the right things. I myself have been threatened to be shut because I question the material coming into my yard, and I don't give a damn because that's who I am and that's what I do. You know, but you don't care about us. Come on.
Any further questions?
One thing I want to say before we go. If there's no more question, one thing to close off. One thing. Trinidad have a thing, and it have a calypso say, sufferers don't care where they get it from. Sufferers don't care. I want the government to know. When you push, and you push us, and you back me to the wall, and we can't do nothing, what you expect? What you expect? Right now we are back, our back is against the wall. and we can't do nothing. All we could do is to come here and talk to the public. But I am saying again, if you all know that you all don't care about poor people, or let's tell us. Let me call out all our members and we go head somewhere. Because we cannot take it no more. We cannot take this no more. And the way how it's going, if something don't happen between now and next week, I telling you, all of we got to shut down. Because we can't continue buying and we don't know what's going on. Not because 2 or 3 yards was able to sell some containers. 3 or 4 yards is not the industry. It's more than that. And we need to continue because the way how the thing going, if we don't get a license between now and next week, I am telling you, I asking all my members, we will call a day. And I will ask all the trade union to come and assist us and work with us, and also civil society. I asking everybody to come out because you see, enough is enough. And I want to thank everybody who was listening, and I want to let you know is that when poor people back is against the wall, we don't have no other choice. The only thing we can do is this country give us the rights to walk or to protest. That's all we have. We can't do nothing else because we're not thinking about nothing else. Right? All we know, but we'll have to come out. That's all we could do. And the country give us the open to do that. All right? So I'm saying is that unless change don't make, we gonna have to come out. That's all I say. And I thank everybody. I don't think it have any more questions, Nicole?
No.
All right, so we thank you all for coming, and we hope that we ask you all, you could take shots, you could take whatever shot in the yard you want, no problem. And thank you.